Lakers Nation, what is going on today? We are breaking down a massive off-season trade idea between the Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Lakers that could completely change both rosters, and if you stay until the end I will explain why this move could quietly help the Lakers build a true championship contender around Luka Doncic, and why the Nuggets might actually be forced into this type of deal because of money problems and roster pressure. This is one of those situations where one move can shift the balance of the Western Conference, and most fans are not even talking about it yet, but this is exactly the type of trade scenario that front offices are considering right now in the off-season. We are talking about Cam Johnson possibly being on the move and the Lakers emerging as a serious landing spot while the Nuggets try to fix their depth and save salary at the same time. Denver just came off a disappointing playoff exit, and the pressure is on to retool the roster without completely breaking up the core they already have in place. But the issue is simple: they are expensive and they need to find cheaper ways to stay competitive. Cam Johnson has become one of the top trade candidates in the league because of his contract situation. He is on an expiring deal worth around $23 million, and that makes him very valuable for teams trying to clear money or reshape their roster quickly. On the Lakers side, they are coming off a tough playoff run where they were exposed in key areas, especially on the wings and perimeter shooting, and that is exactly where Cam Johnson fits perfectly. The idea behind this trade is simple: both teams help each other solve a problem while also taking on some risk. Here is the full trade idea being discussed. The Nuggets would receive Jared Vanderbilt and Jake LaRavia and a 2033 second-round pick. The Lakers would receive Cam Johnson. Now, when you first hear this deal it might feel like a lot for both sides, but when you break it down it actually makes sense for what each team is trying to accomplish right now. Let us start with the Nuggets' perspective. Denver is trying to save money this off-season while still staying competitive around their core players, and losing Cam Johnson would hurt their spacing and scoring, but they are not getting nothing back in return. Jared Vanderbilt brings defense toughness and energy. He is a 6'8" forward who can guard multiple positions and instantly improves Denver defense on the wing, something they have struggled with in key playoff matchups. He is not a big scoring threat, but his defensive impact, rebounding, and ability to disrupt opposing wings makes him valuable, especially next to high-level offensive players. Then you add Jake LaRavia, who is a young versatile wing who can defend multiple positions and give you solid minutes off the bench. He averaged over 8 points, 4 rebounds and over 1 steal per game, and he brings effort and consistency, which is exactly what playoff rotations need. From a financial standpoint, Vanderbilt has a contract around $12 million next season with a player option after that, and LaRavia is on a smaller expiring deal, which gives Denver more flexibility moving forward. On top of that, Denver also gets a future second-round pick, which gives them a small asset for depth or future moves. So for the Nuggets, this is about depth, defense, and saving money while still staying competitive, even if they lose a high-level shooter like Cam Johnson. Now on the Lakers side, this is where things get very interesting. The Lakers are trying to maximize their championship window, and if they believe they can compete right now, then adding a player like Cam Johnson makes perfect sense. He is a 6'8" forward who shot around 43% from three-point range, and that type of shooting is exactly what the Lakers have been missing in key playoff moments. Imagine him spacing the floor next to Luka Doncic, giving him room to operate while also providing a reliable catch-and-shoot option that defenses cannot ignore. Cam Johnson also brings defensive versatility. He is not a lockdown defender, but he is solid enough to stay on the floor in playoff situations, which is all the Lakers really need if he is making shots on the other end. There is also a bigger picture here for the Lakers. Because Cam Johnson is on an expiring contract, this move does not lock them into long-term salary, and it keeps flexibility open for future off-season moves, especially in situations where they might want to make a bigger splash later on. This is the type of move that improves the roster immediately without completely limiting future options. From a basketball standpoint, the Lakers would be getting a real floor spacer, someone who can hit shots at a high level and take pressure off Luka and their main ball handlers. And when you look at how the Lakers struggled in spacing and consistent perimeter shooting this past season, it becomes clear why a player like Cam Johnson is such an important target. Now when you zoom out and look at the entire deal, this is really about two teams trying to fix different problems. The Nuggets are trying to reduce salary and add depth and defense around their core while still staying competitive in the Western Conference. The Lakers are trying to add shooting and wing scoring to maximize their championship window right now while they still have star-level talent in place. It is not a perfect trade for either side, but it is the type of deal that makes sense in the real NBA where money, roster construction and fit matter just as much as talent. The biggest question is whether Denver would feel like they are giving up too much shooting or whether the Lakers would need to add more assets to make the deal realistic. But regardless, this is the kind of off-season idea that shows how both of these franchises could be active in reshaping their rosters. If the Lakers want to compete at the highest level, they are going to need more shooting, more wing depth and more consistency from beyond the arc, and Cam Johnson checks all of those boxes. And if Denver wants to stay flexible while still competing, they are going to have to consider moving players on expiring contracts for multiple rotation pieces instead of relying on one expensive piece. This is why this trade idea is getting attention, because it is not just about one player, it is about how both teams are trying to build for the future while still competing right now. So Lakers Nation, the big question is simple: would you make this move, or do you think the Lakers should hold their assets for an even bigger trade later in the offseason?